Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are going over organic chemistry questions for O levels primarily, and then we will obviously discuss questions for IGCSE if we have them. Again, thank you so much for coming up. We were having some connectivity issues, so thank you so much for coming again. Samiha, Rabia, Zen, Wahab. Yeah, it's good to see you all here. All right, so let's get started. This is the first question, and this is from the more recent years. I've shared the link for this worksheet in the rapid revision group that we have, the WhatsApp group, so you can see the worksheet for yourself over there if you want. Yeah, hello Zen. Okay, so what does it say? The structure of an organic compound T is shown, deduce the molecular formula of compound T. Now, what you have to see over here is that molecular formula gives us the number of all the atoms present. तो जितने भी उसमें एटम्स होंगे हमसे सबका सबका लिख देंगे कि वो क्या हैं और कितने हैं. ऑलराइट, सो वी हैव टू काउंट देम. हेलो वहाब, हेलो सईद, हेलो फाद. So we have to count all of them. So यहाँ पर हमारे पास we have 3 carbons. So we'll write 3 carbon, and we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 hydrogen, and there is 1 oxygen. So we'll just write all of that. Now that is also the empirical formula of this substance, because you cannot simplify it any further. इसको further simplify तो नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम इसका molecular formula ये लिख सकते हैं. Now if you write C3H5OH, that's also fine, because that's also giving us the exact number, and whether you write OH or whether you combine the hydrogen doesn't matter. It has no effect on the molecular formula. So दोनों सूरतों में वो आंसर ठीक होगा. Compound T is a colorless liquid. Say the color change when excess compound T is added to aqueous bromine. So यहाँ पर टेस्ट हो रहा है इस डबल बॉन्ड का, बिकॉज हमें पता है कि ये जो डबल बॉन्ड होती है दिस इज बेसिकली unsaturated. This makes the whole molecule unsaturated, जिसका मतलब है इसमें addition reaction हो सकता है. Addition is when you break the double bond, you add something on both the carbons. तो यहाँ पर उसके addition reaction होने की वजह से bromine can react with it. And this is aqueous bromine, जिसका मतलब है कि bromine इसमें add हो जाएगी, colorless हो जाएगा ये solution, starting with the color of bromine, which was orange, red, brown, or just brown. So you can write any of those. So orange or red, brown to colorless. Both are this is the chain that we will see in this case. Moving on, compound D can be oxidized to carboxylic acid. Now they are not talking about this double bond. Now they're talking about this OH, because we know that OH can be oxidized. Sure, double bond can also be oxidized, लेकिन हमारे syllabus में वो नहीं है. हमारे syllabus में है oxidation of alcohols. So we'll focus on this one, and we'll know that alcohols can be oxidized to carboxylic acid, again according to our syllabus. So compound T can be oxidized to carboxylic acid, suggests a suitable oxidizing agent. So this one we want to oxidize it, and we have KMnO4. There is only one strong oxidizing agent in our syllabus, and just make sure that you mention acidified KMnO4 aqueous. Now of course you will get a mark if you just write KMnO4, but knowing the whole method, like it has to have acid because acid allows us to do that, or it has to be in a solution, that also helps. So yeah, but you just write KMnO4, or you even write potassium manganate 7, that is also acceptable. Okay, compound T can be polymerized. So हमने इसको पढ़ा हुआ है, हमने कल की स्ट्रीम में देखा था कि पॉलीमर्स कैसे बनते हैं. So go on, you know that this thing has a double bond. Take a minute and do the RCJ method and make a polymer from this. Go on. Yeah, so we break the double bond as Wahab is saying, that's absolutely right. We break the double bond and repeat. So first thing that I would do before we get to that is to rearrange this thing. So I will rearrange this thing and write it in this form so that it's all perpendicular bonds like that. And this part, this whole thing, I'll move. And this is my partial structure. I will remove the double bond and now I will copy this whole thing. So this whole thing, I will copy it. So that's here, and now I'll join them. So remove, copy and join. That's the method. I will also show the continuation bonds, the bonds that are on the sides, so that I know that this is a partial structure. ये चलता जा रहा है, ये खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. All right. So yeah, that's how we get it. Yeah, RCB or RCJ, yes. Okay, compound T reacts with methanoic acid to form an ester. Complete the structure of this ester. अब ये question पिछले साल भी आया, उससे पिछले साल भी आया. So it is reasonable to know that we need to know how to solve these questions. So what's happening here? It reacts with methanoic acid to form an ester. अब हम esters के बारे में क्या जानते हैं? Number one, esters are sweet smelling compounds. Number two, esters can be used as solvents. Number three, esters are made by having C double O bond in them. Number four, ester के नाम में alcohol का नाम पहले आता है because alcohol gives the branch, और बाकी जो चीज़ें हैं उनका नाम बाद में आता है. Yes, continuation bonds are necessary, Said. Alright, so let's start with this. So we had propanol, okay, and now we are being shown the third carbon. जो हमारे पास ये वाला carbon था, इसको उसने open करके लिख दिया. But we know that this is where we are going to get the ester bond. तो यहाँ पर we will get the ester bond, और वो कैसे होगी? That you remove the hydrogen from, or hydrogen oxygen, आपकी मर्जी है. So let's suppose I had the alcohol, और मेरे पास originally क्या था? यहाँ पे OH था. Now let's suppose I remove the OH from here and H from here. So I've removed OH and H. So water बन गया होगा, water is on the side. Whatever is left, I'm going to join that here. So this is going to be oxygen with carbon with double bonded oxygen and hydrogen. और ये मेरे पास इसका ester बन गया. अब इसका नाम obviously हम देख सकते हैं that it is propenyl methanoate. लेकिन let's see अगर ये question हमसे उसने पूछा भी है कि नहीं. But the primary thing to understand here is that first copy the structure of the alcohol that you have, then remove AH and OH and join the remaining parts. Again, RCJ or RCB. Okay? Alright. Methanoic acid is a weak acid. Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. Give the formula of the positive ion that's present in all acids. अब यहाँ पर we're talking about acid-based definitions. So we know acids give protons. Proton का एक और नाम होता है H positive. So that's the ion that is present in all the acids. हाँ, some acids have more H positive, like H2SO4 में there is 2 hydrogen ions and HCl में there is 1 hydrogen ion. But H positive होना ज़रूरी है for anything to be acid. Now some things are acidic, they are not acids on their own. For example, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide on its own acid नहीं है, but you dissolve it in water and it gets H positive from water. ठीक है? So that is why we say that it is acidic, क्योंकि ये भी H positive provide कर देती है. Which question do you need help in, Rabia? Yeah, now we are moving on. Explain why the rate of reaction of 1 mole per dm cube methanoic acid with magnesium is less than the rate of 1 mole per dm cube HCl. Again, they have already told us कि एक strong acid है, एक weak acid है. तो अब हमने ये बताना है कि strong weak होने से H positive के ऊपर क्या effect करता है, क्योंकि in this reaction magnesium is going to displace hydrogen ion. Magnesium more reactive है, it's going to displace hydrogen ion, और इसकी वजह से ये reaction होगा और hydrogen gas आएगी. I usually do this in grade 9 whenever we study acid base. हम class में magnesium में acid add करके देखते हैं कि bubbles किस तरह से निकल रहे हैं, और we actually experience that with weak acids, like I usually use ethanoic acid, it is much more slower than with HCl, and HCl you actually see them to be very rapid. Now why is that? The whole reason behind it is that even though you have the same concentration of the acid, you have different concentration of H positive, and that's a very key idea here, that acids जस्ट बिकॉज यू हैव 1 मोल per dm cube ऑफ सम एसिड डज नॉट मीन कि वो सारे के सारे H पॉजिटिव दे देगा. वीक एसिड्स आयनाइज्ड पार्शियली, उसका मतलब है कि अगर आपके पास 1000 मॉलिक्यूल्स ऑफ मेथनोइक एसिड होंगे तो उनमें से हो सकता है 10, 15, 50, 100 आपको H पॉजिटिव मिले और बाकी वाले उस रिएक्शन में हिस्सा ही ना लें. और on the other hand, you have hydrochloric acid, and if you have 1000 molecules of hydrochloric acid, all of them are going to provide you with H positive. So the concentration of H positive depends on if it's a strong acid or a weak acid. But the concentration of acid depends on आपने add कितना किया. तो कितने protons वो देता है वो vary करता है. It depends on the nature of the acid. So we'll say that there is less concentration of H positive in methanoic acid than HCl. Okay, so we have said that even though they're the same acid, like they are both giving us H positive, same ions, but one is stronger, so it gives it more H positive at the same time. So it ionizes fully, and that means that you have more concentration of H positive. अच्छा, अब वो टाइम नहीं है कि हम डेफिनेशंस के रट्टे लगा के एग्जामिनर को दे दें. हमने उसको स्पेसिफाई करना है कि एग्जैक्टली कौन से पार्टिकल्स इन्वॉल्व हैं इस रिएक्शन के अंदर. अगर आप लिख देंगे ना कि इट आयनाइजेस पार्शियली एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट्स स्लो, आपका रिएक्शन का जो ये रिलेशन आपने बनाया है H पॉजिटिव का वो क्लियर नहीं होगा. ठीक है, सो इट्स बेटर केमिस्ट्री to write exact reason rather than saying a general thing like it ionizes partially. उससे क्या पता चल रहा है? कुछ भी नहीं पता चल रहा है. Construct the equation for the reaction of methanoic acid with magnesium. Now, with organic acids, students need to know that it is the H with oxygen that is lost. Carbon hydrogen वाली bond जो है ना, that hydrogen is not lost. हमने कल इसके ऊपर बात की थी कि there is a weird way to remember this, fungal. ओके, इनके साथ जो हाइड्रोजन होता है वो इजीली लूज हो जाता है, बट विद कार्बन ये लूज नहीं होता. सो यू जस्ट नीड टू रिमेंबर दैट कार्बन के साथ जो हाइड्रोजन लगा है वो लूज नहीं हो सकता बिकॉज ऑफ द नेचर ऑफ दिस बॉन्ड. सो इट इज दिस हाइड्रोजन दैट वी आर गोइंग टू लूज. सो व्हेन यू आर रिएक्टिंग विद मैग्नीशियम, सो यू आर ऑब्वियसली गोइंग टू गेट हाइड्रोजन. नाउ लेट्स स्टडी दिस मॉलिक्यूल अ लिटिल बिट. इफ आई स्प्लिट दिस इनटू H पॉजिटिव, देन व्हाटएवर इज लेफ्ट, whatever it is left, मुझे वो पहली दफ़ा मैंने देखा है या मैंने 10 दफ़ा उसको देखा है, उसके ऊपर -1 चार्ज होगा क्योंकि मैंने H पॉजिटिव 1 पॉजिटिव चीज़ को अलहदा कर दिया तो 1 नेगेटिव चीज़ दूसरी बन जाएगी बिकॉज ओवरऑल इट्स न्यूट्रल. सो वट एवर दैट इज इट्स मेथनोइट आयन, बट अगर मुझे उसका नाम भी नहीं पता, मुझे वो पहली दफ़ा मैं देख रहा हूँ एग्जाम में, सो ये चीज़ जो भी होगी इसका -1 चार्ज होगा बिकॉज यू मूव्ड इन H पॉजिटिव आउट एंड नाउ यू रिएक्ट दिस वन विद मैग्नीशियम. सो हमें फॉर्मूला बनाना आता है, हमें पता है मैग्नीशियम इज गोइंग टू बी +2 एंड दिस थिंग इज HCOO -1. सो you'll notice that whenever we react organic acids हम anion पहले लिखते हैं और cation बाद में लिखते हैं. So now we do cross multiplication, this 2 comes here, the 1 goes there. So I get HCOO with bracket 2 Mg. अच्छा, अगर आप मैग्नीशियम पहले लिख दो और ये बाद में लिख दो, but your formula is right, you will get the marks. So don't worry about it. ठीक? Yeah. So we get this thing and 1 mark. This is a 2 mark question and I'm sure that 1 mark is for the correct formula of magnesium methanoate. Yes, very good, Wahab. Yes. Okay, moving on. Alright, this is from section A. We have to choose from the following to answer the questions, okay? And let's see what we have here. We have propanol, we have propane, we have propanoic acid, we have 2-methyl propene, we also have 2-methyl propane, we have wow, this is interesting because this is a compound with both OH and carboxylic acid. So this is 2-hydroxy propanoic acid, and this one is an ester. I can see from this it's an ester, and this one is it has a branch and it has the ethanoate over here, propanoate over here. अब इन सब के नाम वो आपसे हो सकते हैं ना जाने, because there are branches in there and there are multiple functional groups. हो सकता है वो इन सबके नाम आपसे ना मांगे. Let's see. Yeah, we did not balance that equation. Let's see. Yeah, we'll need two of this. Thank you, Zeba. Okay, state which compound has a molecule with only 14 atoms. 14 atoms. Let's see. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So A has 12. B has 4, 4, and 3. That's not it. This has 4, 2, 4 and 3, 7, 7 and 3, 10. So it's definitely going to be even bigger than C. So हम देख लेते हैं. I'll try with G. G in fact seems much bigger. 4, 4, 2, that is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. ये तो और भी ऊपर चले गया. Let's try F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'll try E. 4, 4, 4, 12, 12 and 2. Yeah, there you go. It is E. वक्त थोड़ा ज़्यादा लग गया, but it's okay. Can be oxidized to form propanoic acid. Now, when we say can be oxidized, we are talking about a hydrox. So we want to get propanoic acid, so I'm looking for propanol. I have propanol here. That's A, right? Propanol. It has OH and it has 3 carbons, so it is A. An isomer of butane. अब butane का formula क्या था? C4H10, right? So that means I have 4 carbons in that compound, और 10 हाइड्रोजन और तीसरी कोई चीज़ नहीं है. So butane, it's not B, right? It's not B. Yeah, so butane. Yeah, butane needs 4, so it's not that. It does seem like E, I think. 4 carbons and 10 hydrogen. Yeah, it is E. Reacts with steam to make an alcohol. So again, we know that things that react with steam to make alcohol are the ones with double bond in them, right? So those are going to be D, I think, because D can be oxidized with, react with water to form or steam to form the alcohol. So yeah, this is going to be D. Why? Because it has a double bond. And can be polymerized to make a polyester. Polymerized to make a polyester. Again, a double bond. And this is polyester, right? So I'm looking for a carboxylic acid or an alcohol group, right? Because that is something I can polymerize to get the ester bond. So I think we have 2 options for that. We have C, which has an ester linkage here, and I can polymerize that. Or it is also F, because with F I have carboxylic as well as OH group. So I think it will be, I'll go with F, but C is also right. C का एक प्रॉब्लम ये भी है कि इसमें सिर्फ एक साइड से ये बनाएगा बॉन्ड, दूसरी साइड से नहीं कर, दूसरी साइड से ये कर नहीं पाएगा. So I think that's the reason we won't pick C. Like for polyesters, we need things that continue, that have ester bonds on both sides, and this one won't be able to do it. F will definitely succeed in that. दोनों sides से उसको करने में. We don't need alkene to get a polyester. We need acid or alcohol to do that. State which 2 compounds in aqueous solution turn blue litmus red. So we're looking for acid, right? So litmus goes blue to red for acid. So we are looking for carboxylic acid, that's C and F. Two of them. So we have to give 2. So that's why this is going to be 2 of them. Yep. There you go. I think that's good enough. Alright, moving on. The structure of propenyl ethanoate is shown. So propenyl, because this part has a double bond in it, so propene. Which one, Wahab? Let's see, which part are you saying? So D is an alkene, right? Let's see which part. Reacts with steam to make an alcohol, उसमें हमने D कर लिया. Can be polymerized to make a polyester, वो D नहीं हो सकता है. Because D cannot make polyester. We need ester linkage, and ester linkage के लिए we need C double O. So we are either going to use alcohol or we are going to use carboxylic. So D has none of them. Okay, but yeah, for fourth part, for making steam, for reacting with steam to make alcohol, that is definitely D. Okay, the structure of propenyl ethanoate is shown. Use the structure to explain why propenyl is unsaturated. Unsaturated things कौन सी होती हैं? The ones that have double bond in them. So we have it has carbon-carbon double bond. It's super important to identify the carbon-carbon double bond. Carbon-oxygen double bond होने से कोई चीज़ unsaturated नहीं हो जाती. It is the carbon-carbon double bond that matters, not carbon-oxygen or any other double bond. Describe a chemical test to show that it is unsaturated. So the test that we have, and in fact this was in the first question that we did, is that pass it through aqueous bromine. So pass through, so that's the test. Test होता है ना, that is something you do. Results उसके बाद आते हैं, ठीक है? So pass through aqueous bromine. You can also say bromine water, ठीक है? And goes orange to colorless. So observation should include the color before the test and color after the test. दोनों colors आने चाहिए. So goes orange to colorless, and that is my answer to this. Pretty straightforward answer. You can also write red, brown, and that's also acceptable. Brown मत लिखिएगा because brown color is usually reserved for iodine in its reaction. Okay. Propenyl ethanoate is prepared by reaction between carboxylic acid and then alcohol as shown. So let's see. Confuse नहीं होना है इतने बड़े structures को देख के. So we have alcohol here, carboxylic acid here, which is ethanoic acid. ठीक है. और दूसरी साइड पे मेरे पास propenol है, because it has double bond as well as the alcohol part, so propenol. And when they react, you're basically removing an H and OH. So let's suppose I remove this H and this OH. So whatever is left उसको मैंने join कर दिया, so मेरे पास propenyl ethanoate आ गया और water बन गया, right? So that's how we get this thing. Name the carboxylic acid used. So carboxylic acid used is this one, so it is ethanoic acid. आप इसको structure देखे बगैर भी बोल सकते हो, because ethanoate is telling us that we have ethanoic acid. I haven't seen bromine ever being called red, so I would be wary of that. I wouldn't trust that. Reaction uses concentrated sulfuric acid as catalyst. Why? Concentrated sulfuric acid, as you know, is a dehydrating agent, right? So it absorbs water, and over here we are removing water, right? So describe how a catalyst speeds up a chemical reaction. It lowers the activation energy, so there are more particles with enough energy to react. वो सारे के सारा हमने यहाँ पे discuss करना है. That it lowers the activation energy. So describe करना है कि how does it do that? So it lowers the activation energy. Write the full term by providing alternative pathway for the reaction. Okay, so that is how a catalyst works for us. You can write that it does not change at the end. That's your choice. If you want to write, you can write that. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Second mark will be, I guess, for alternative pathway, because lowering the activation energy is one part, and alternative pathway is what has a lower activation energy. But if you want to give more detail, you can, that because of the lower activation energy, more particles are able to do successful collisions per unit time. So you can write that as well. Parts of the structure of carbon dioxide and calcium carbide are shown. Explain in terms of structure and bonding why carbon dioxide has a low boiling point and calcium is slightly unrelated to organic chemistry, but still let's do it. We are talking about the structure and bonding. So हमने दोनों की जिक्र करना है. So carbon dioxide has a simple molecular structure. Calcium carbide has ionic structure. So that's one for the structure. Bonding. Carbon dioxide has. So now we are not entirely going to talk about chemical bond in there, like carbon dioxide में covalent bond है, but it is not the covalent bond that affects the boiling point. Be very clear about it. It's not the covalent bond. It is the intermolecular forces that these things have. These forces are what cause the boiling point to be low or high. So we will talk about that it has weak intermolecular forces. अब उससे यहाँ पर force का word नहीं use किया. But we know that bonding is irrelevant because covalent bond is not the reason this thing happens as far as we know in our syllabus. Okay? So yeah, so it has low boiling point because the intermolecular force of attraction are weak, and that has a high boiling point because the electrostatic forces of attraction, or if you don't remember that name, then force of attraction between cation and anion, yeah, different ions are strong. So we'll say that carbon dioxide. So talk about both of them. Whenever they give you a question that compares two things, talk about both of them. So carbon dioxide has simple molecular structure, while calcium carbide has ionic lattice or ionic structure. CO2 has weak intermolecular force of attraction, write the full word, IMFA, while calcium carbide has strong force of attraction between opposite ions, oppositely charged ions. Okay, so there you go. That's what my answer will be. It's not covalent bond, so do not mention that. It's very important that you don't mention that. Calcium carbide reacts with water to form ethyne and calcium hydroxide. Construct the equation. So हमें उसने reactant भी बता दिए, product भी बता दिए. हमने इसे balance करना. So CaC2, we take that thing. We react it with water. We get ethyne. We know ethyne is used as fuel for welding, and we know that it is unsaturated thing. It has triple carbon-carbon bond, and we are also getting calcium hydroxide. So now we'll just balance it. I'm getting 2 hydroxide, so I'm guessing I'll need 2 water. Okay. Which part do you not understand? If there's any question that you do not understand, always mention in the chat that this is the question I didn't get. Ethyne is unsaturated hydrocarbon. State the meaning of the term hydrocarbon. So हमें unsaturated का भी पता होना चाहिए. Unsaturated means it has carbon-carbon double bond or triple bonds. And hydrocarbon का मतलब है compound made hydrogen and carbon only. That only part is important. You can't have any other thing. Okay. Ethyne is a member of alkyne homologous series. Now over here they've given us a totally new homologous series जिसको हमने पढ़ा नहीं वो, but it's fine. Predict the formula for the 5th member. Now you have to predict it. So don't try to come up with a general formula. It will take you longer than I'm not saying that you can't. It's pretty easy. You can obviously come up with this. But when you are predicting, look at the pattern. So carbon 2, 3, 4, 5. So next one will be 6. And hydrogen 2, 4, 6, 8. Next one will be 10. And that's the 5th member. Let me look at these questions. First question, what's the difference between intermolecular force and covalent bonds? Covalent bonds are inside the molecule. Yeah, that's actually right. You have answered your question. Covalent bond is inside the molecule and intermolecular force is outside the molecule between different molecules. Now, another important factor to remember, जब भी हम bonding की बात करते हैं ना, bond is always between a positive thing and a negative thing. Because bond is always attraction of charges. It is very strong. It's always attraction of charges. तो आपको पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव को आइडेंटिफाई करना आना चाहिए। हम मेटेलिक बॉन्ड की बात करते हैं। मेटेलिक बॉन्ड में पॉजिटिव चीज़ क्या है, कैटाइन, और नेगेटिव क्या है, फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन। आयनिक बॉन्ड में पॉजिटिव क्या है, कैटाइन, और नेगेटिव क्या है, एनाइन। कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड के पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव को बच्चे कंफ्यूज कर जाते हैं। कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड में द नेगेटिव पार्ट इज शेयर्ड इलेक्ट्रॉन, इनफैक्ट शेयर्ड इलेक्ट्रॉन पेयर, बिकॉज ऑलवेज अ पेयर इज इन्वॉल्व्ड, अकेला इलेक्ट्रॉन कभी शेयर नहीं होता, पेयर होता है। एंड व्हाट्स द पॉजिटिव थिंग, इट इज द टू न्यूक्लियाई, दोनों एटम्स के न्यूक्लियस उस शेयर्ड इलेक्ट्रॉन पेयर को पुल करते हैं, दोज आर द पॉजिटिव वंस एंड दिस इज द नेगेटिव वन। So covalent bond is that strong force of attraction between this positive and this negative. Bond हमेशा positive और negative के बीच में होगी, लेकिन intermolecular forces different molecules के बीच में होती हैं। अब यहाँ पे एक और सवाल आता है कि how come a neutral thing attracts another neutral thing? तो उसकी डिटेल हम O levels में नहीं पढ़ते हैं, but it's really really simple। आप फिजिक्स में जो इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक्स वाला चैप्टर पढ़ते हो ना, जिसमें आपके पास वो इलेक्ट्रोस्कोप होती है, आई डोंट नो इफ इट्स स्टिल इन द सिलेबस, और हम पढ़ते हैं कि पॉजिटिव चार्जेस मूव कर जाते हैं और नेगेटिव चार्जेस उसके फॉलो करते हैं या दूर हो जाते हैं, और रॉड से आप स्फेयर को चार्ज करते हो। एग्जैक्टली लाइक दैट इंटरमोलेकुलर फोर्सेस भी काम करती हैं। सो इंटरमोलेकुलर फोर्सेस वीक होती हैं और वो जनरेट होती हैं, ख़त्म हो जाती हैं डिपेंडिंग ऑन डिफरेंट मॉलिक्यूल्स, सही। लेकिन बॉन्ड परमानेंट है, बॉन्ड वहीं रहेगी और मॉलिक्यूल के अंदर रहेगी। फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज में कोवेलेंट कंपाउंड में कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड का कोई ताल्लुक नहीं, बॉइलिंग पॉइंट में कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड का ताल्लुक नहीं, मेल्टिंग पॉइंट में ताल्लुक नहीं, इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी में ताल्लुक नहीं, डेंसिटी में कोई ताल्लुक नहीं। ये फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज हैं, ये इंटरमोलेकुलर फोर्स पर डिपेंड करती हैं, सही है। सो दैट इज वाई इन ओ लेवल्स वी हैव दिस स्लाइट डिस्टिंक्शन, और कभी कभी कंफ्यूजन भी हो जाता है, बट रिमेंबर दैट फॉर कोवेलेंट सब्सटेंसेस इट इज ऑलवेज the intermolecular force that's responsible for whether it dissolves or not, whether it has high density or low, whether it conducts or not, whether it has high melting or low melting point. ठीक है, एक तो ये क्वेश्चन हो गया, I hope that answers it. The second question was previous part. Rabia, wait a minute, which part are you talking about? This one I've answered. Let's see, इससे पिछला भी कोई क्वेश्चन था? I'm not sure. Can you mention the part, or I just put it in the group and I will send you a voice note for that. Group में ही answer कर दूँगा मैं उसको. Alright. Ethane reacts with hydrogen in a similar way to ethene. So come back to this. Alkynes. Ethane reacts with hydrogen in a similar way to ethene reacting with hydrogen. So हमें ethene के बारे में पता है that ethene reacts with hydrogen to make saturated compounds. Hydrogen उसमें add हो जाती है, addition reaction होता है, double bond टूटती है। हमें ये भी पता है कि उसका एक इंडस्ट्रियल एप्लीकेशन है, वी यूज़ इट टू मेक मार्जरीन, और निकल कैटलिस्ट होता है, हाई टेम्परेचर होता है, हमें वो सारा पता है। या पार्ट ए, ओके लेट्स सी। दिस पार्ट ए वाज अबाउट कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड हैज़ अ लो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट एंड कैल्शियम कार्बाइड हैज़ अ हाई बॉइलिंग पॉइंट। सो हमने स्ट्रक्चर बॉन्डिंग दोनों को डिस्कस करना था। स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड कोवेलेंट और मॉलिक्यूलर, और कैल्शियम कार्बाइड आयनिक लैटिस, स्ट्रक्चर बता दिया। बॉन्डिंग, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड में कोवेलेंट बॉन्ड है, लेकिन दैट्स नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर मेल्टिंग बॉइलिंग बॉन्ड, इट इज द इंटरमोलेकुलर फोर्स व्हिच इज। तो हम यहाँ पे बात इंटरमोलेकुलर की करेंगे, बॉन्डिंग की बात करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, इट्स इररिलेवेंट। बट कैल्शियम कार्बाइड में वी हैव चार्जेस इन द ऑपोजिट आयंस, और वो आ जाते हैं यहाँ पे। अच्छा, वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन सईद। आर एल्काइन्स इन आवर सिलेबस? दे आर नॉट। ओनली द फर्स्ट एल्काइन यू नीड टू नो, इट्स यूज्ड फॉर फ्यूल इन वेल्डिंग, इथाइन, बट उसके अलावा कोई नहीं है। लेकिन एग्जामिनर को भी पता है, और वो आपको न्यू होमोलॉगस सीरीज इंट्रोड्यूस करता है और आपसे उसके पुरानी वालों के लिहाज से क्वेश्चन पूछता है। जैसे IGCSE के एक क्वेश्चन में उसने एक एल्डिहाइड्स होते हैं जो हम ए लेवल्स में पढ़ते हैं, उसने एल्डिहाइड्स पढ़ के क्वेश्चन में डाल दिए, और सवाल उसने उसके नहीं पूछे, सवाल उसने एल्डिहाइड के उसी तरह पूछे जैसे हमें नॉर्मल पता है कि अच्छा किसी चीज़ का मेल्टिंग पॉइंट क्यों होता है, हमें पता है इंटरमोलेकुलर फोर्स पर डिपेंड करता है, बस उसने उसको एल्डिहाइड के लिहाज से पूछ लिया। सो कॉन्सेप्ट्स हमारे ही यूज होंगे, बट वो नई चीज़ों को इंट्रोड्यूस करके उसमें लाएगा ताकि आप कंफ्यूज हो। लेकिन हमने कंफ्यूज नहीं होना, हमारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर हैं, हमें पता है कि किसी भी चीज़ का मेल्टिंग बॉइलिंग पॉइंट उसकी फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टीज इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्स पर डिपेंड करती हैं। किसी का जनरल फार्मूला हम बना सकते हैं पैटर्न को देख के, जनरल फार्मूला ना भी बनाना हो हम इस तरह देख के कि 2 3 4 5 अगला 6 होगा, 2 4 6 8 अगला 10 होगा, हम यहाँ से इस तरह की चीज़ें बना सकते हैं। हमें पता है अनसैचुरेटेड का मतलब है डबल बॉन्ड होगी, ट्रिपल बॉन्ड होगी और उसमें एडिशन रिएक्शन हो सकता है, यहाँ पे भी उसने ही किया। सो लेट्स लुक एट दैट। ईथेन रिएक्ट्स विद हाइड्रोजन इन सिमिलर वे टू ईथीन। अब हमें पता है कि ईथीन क्या करता है, ईथीन रिएक्ट्स विद दैट हाइड्रोजन ऐड हो जाती है, तो ईथाइन भी यही करेगा। सो अब वो कह रहे हैं ईथाइन का रिएक्शन करके दो, तो कोई मसला नहीं है, हमें ईथीन का पता है, विल डू द सेम थिंग फॉर ईथाइन। सो C2H2 प्लस हाइड्रोजन। अच्छा अब सोचो यहाँ पे अगर ईथीन होता तो क्या होता, ईथीन होता तो C2H4 था प्लस हाइड्रोजन होता तो हम हाइड्रोजन ऐड कर देते तो C2H6 हो जाता, तो यहाँ पे भी यही करेंगे, यहाँ पे C2H4 करते हैं, हाइड्रोजनेशन हो रही है ना, एडिशन ऑफ हाइड्रोजन। यू कैन इवन ऐड मोर हाइड्रोजन, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि अब इथीन बना है और इथीन भी तो फर्दर रिएक्ट करता है, सो यू कैन इवन राइट C2H6 इफ यू वांट, एडिशन हो रही है ना, बस 2 हाइड्रोजन ऐड हो जाएंगे, बट इवन इफ यू लीव इट आउट हियर दैट्स आल्सो फाइन। Predict the molecular formula for product formed when ethane reacts with hydrogen. Molecular formula of a product formed when ethane reacts with hydrogen. Oh wait a minute, equation तो उसने पूछी नहीं हमसे। So they asked us for the type of, so that is addition or you can even say hydrogenation. Type of reaction पूछा ना उसने, so that is why we'll say it is addition or hydrogenation, ठीक है। And predict the molecular formula, so we could get C2H4, we could get C2H6 क्योंकि ज़्यादा हाइड्रोजन ऐड हो रहे हैं। Okay, this is the last question for today. 1,2-dichloroethane is produced when excess ethane reacts with chlorine. Okay, so we have gotten this structure of 1,2-dichloroethane is shown. 1,2 क्यों, क्योंकि both carbons are having one chlorine, so 1 2 के किस किस कार्बन पर ये अवेलेबल है। डिड्यूस द पार्शियल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ पॉलीमर, सो अगेन वी नो दिस, और हमें यहाँ पे 3 रिपीट यूनिट बनाने हैं, सो वी नो दिस, वी नो वील डू RCB और RCJ, सो वी टेक दिस थिंग, remove the double bond, copy this whole thing, so हम इसको कॉपी करते हैं, 3 बनाने थे तो 3 बना लिए, एंजॉय, तो इनको ज्वाइन कर देते हैं, and there you go. And it's not additional reaction, it's addition reaction, so don't mention additional, it is addition. Okay, and yeah, those are the questions from the last 2 years for organic, I think 2 or 3 years, and I would suggest that you go through the rest of the questions for organic, or make sure कि organic में अब आपको कोई problem नहीं हो, and if you still feel like you need help, then we have the group, you have my number, you can always contact me and I will try my best to help you out. Alright, thank you so much for coming again, and yeah, thank you so much for liking, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow inshallah. Just let me know what topic you want to do tomorrow. Alright, take care.